Hello again, this is Joe with the Technology Closet, and today we're going to show you another method for making a bootable USB thumb drive for recovering your Mac for OS X Mountain Line. This is Apple's fully supported and authorized way of making a bootable USB thumb drive from a system that already has Mountain Line installed with a recovery partition already set up. Basically, this is not going to give you an entire installable version of OS X. That is more done by Line Disk Maker. That will actually copy all the files necessary to do an installation. This will only make a bootable drive. As you can see, the system requirements only require a thumb drive with at least 1 gigabyte of free space. And it's not a whole lot, whereas Line Disk Maker requires at least an 8 gigabyte drive. So what this is going to do is allow you to boot the system into an installation mode, but if you do an installation from this, the installation application is going to go out and actually download the entire close to 5 gigabytes of files necessary to do the installation of Mountain Lion. There's pluses and minuses both ways. This way here, you're always guaranteed of having the latest and greatest installation package. In other words, when Apple released 10.8 and then they released 10.8.1, they update the package in the App Store all the way up to 10.8.1. They're actually at 10.8.2 right now. So when you go boot off of this thumb drive and do an installation, it's going to download whatever the latest one is. So you'll have less system updates once your system is installed and you come up the first time. Lion Disk Maker, that will install whatever package you had downloaded, 10.8, 10.8.1, whatever it is. It'll download that. It'll install that onto the thumb drive, and then when you do an installation, it actually just installs. It doesn't go out and download anything. So it's actually a little bit quicker as well, Line Disk Maker. At any rate, we'll go ahead and proceed with this setup here. You basically want to download the Recovery Disk Assistant. You can go to support.apple.com and to the knowledge base here and do that, or you just do Google search for Recovery Drive Assistant, and it's usually the first or second link. So click here to download it. We're going to go ahead and do this. And I will warn you that I'm going to do this actually unrehearsed. I'm actually going to download this now live on the video, and we're going to run it unrehearsed. I haven't tried this before yet, so on this virtual machine. So we're going to go ahead and see what happens here. It's kind of like live TV back in the day. Okay. All right, Recovery Disk Assistant. Now let's see. We can run this from here, and we want to say open, and we agree. Now it found the disk Untitled, which is my blank USB thumb drive. And it warns me any information on the disk will be erased. So make sure you're 100% sure when you select the disk and click continue. You don't care if anything's erased on this disk, because it will erase it, and you cannot stop it. We're going to go ahead and continue. It's going to ask for my administrator password. I'll go ahead and put that in. And it's actually going to go out and look at the recovery partition, the hidden recovery partition that's on the hard drive now. And it's actually going to basically copy that to this USB thumb drive. The recovery partition, even if you boot to that, doesn't have the installation files there to install OS X. What that will also do, if you boot to the recovery partition and do an install, that also goes out to the internet and downloads the latest version of the installation files. Then it installs it. So you're talking, an extra, depending on your internet connection, you're talking an extra maybe 15 to 20 minutes to download the files that are necessary. and that can actually increase the time. So if you're looking to deploy this pretty quickly, and Mac is not like Windows in that when you do an installation of an operating system that's been released 6 months ago, you're not going to have 500 gigabytes of updates pending, that you're going to have to run several times and do several reboots. You may have maybe 3 or 4 or 5 updates, and usually the OS updates for OS 10 when they're released, you don't have to step up through them. You can just go, if you're at 10.8 and they're at 10.2 and there's 10.1 in between, you don't have to do 10.1 and then install 10.2. It's rolling. You can install it right, all the way up to 10.2 right out of the chute. Okay, it says it was created successfully. If we want to boot from it, connect the recovery disk, restart the computer by holding down the Option key. On a Mac, you would hold down the Option key while it's restarting until it presents you with a menu of bootable disks that it found, and the recovery disk should be one of them, the USB recovery disk. So we're going ahead and quit, and that is basically it. You don't see the recovery disk it's not mounted. Actually, it is, isn't it? No, it's not. We can inject that. You don't see the recovery disk mounted here. You can't. I don't even think you can see it in disk utility. Let's take a look. We see the disk itself, but we don't see a mountable volume. Okay, and again, that's the same as you don't see. You see the disk here, with the Macintosh HD on it, but you don't see the recovery volume that's actually there. It's hidden. You can't even see it in disk utility while you're up and running on the system. So, but basically that's it. That's the way to create the bootable USB thumb drive with Apple's Recovery Disk Assistant. And please subscribe to us on YouTube and send us some feedback at feedback@thetechnologycloset.com. Thanks again for watching.